let's go. Woo, 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 woo. My God is my King. Yes, He is the source of my strength, my everything. Blessed is the King of Israel that cometh in the name of the Lord. My God is my King. Yes, He is the source of my strength, my everything. Ooh, yeah. There's no problem that my Jesus can't handle. He's wise. He can handle it. Yeah. The glory of the one who came from the Father. The only Son. Conquered hell and the grave. Yes, Jesus, you are. You are. Thanks to you, I can be delivered. I can be set free. There's no more chains holding me. Without you, my world will stop. Jesus, you'll forever have my heart. Lift up your head, oh ye gates, and the King of glory shall come in. On the throne, I can't go on. I know you. My God is my King. He is the source of my strength, my everything. There's no problem that my Jesus can't handle. He's wise. Because you reign, I'm not worried about my problem. 'Cause I know you're gonna solve them. You're my source, you're my strength, you're my everything, you're my everything. Yes, you're my Jehovah Rapha, my healer and my deliverer.
Live from New York.
Hey, everybody. It is Demone, and we're so excited to bring you yet another edition of Broadway Offstage Right, where we get up close and personal with some of our favorite Broadway artists. And tonight, we have an incredible, historic, amazing, there are no adjectives sufficient enough to describe our guest. So I'm just going to announce her name, and we're going to jump right in. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tony-nominated star of Sophie Jones Cafe, Dreamgirls, and Chicago, Miss Brenda Braxton.
Oh, my God. What an intro. I love it. Thank you, Demone. Thank you so much.
Oh, my goodness. You have no idea how excited I am to have you on the show. I think I'm one of your biggest fans, if not the biggest. I think it's the truth. I think that's the truth.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, please. I'm just so excited that you said yes. I told my friends that you were on. You have to understand, so Brenda is also really good friends with my best friend, Bernard Dotson. And we were all at a party, and it took everything I had not to jump out of I don't get starstruck very often. But I'm like, she is fine and talented and cool and funny, and she's right in front of my face.
Oh, God. You know, it's
my goodness.
how many people feel that way. It's so amazing because, you know, I consider myself just a working actress trying to go from gig to gig to gig and make your black money. You know what I mean?
So, we are looking at you.
Yes. That's amazing to me. Yes. Thank you.
So Brenda, because you just said this, you see yourself as another actor going from gig to gig to gig. Can you tell us how did this all start for you? Take us back to the beginning on how this all started, because your trajectory is incredible.
Well, it's amazing because, you know, I consider myself just this little girl from the Bronx that loved dancing at the age of 4. You know what I mean? So I started dancing 4 years old at Ruth Williams Dance Studio in Harlem. When it was time to go to high school, I auditioned for performing arts and got in there. I didn't even tell my mother I was auditioning for it. She didn't even know till the acceptance letter came.
Wow.
So she tells that story till this day. Yes. And I've always loved dancing. So I went to PA for 4 years, and then the first year of the Leonard Davis Center at City College, I went there. And then right after that, I auditioned for Guys and Dolls on Broadway, which starred Robert Guillaume and Ken Page. It was the first time I met Ken Page, and that was in 1976. So I've been in this business a long, long time. And just kept working. I worked with Annette Carroll and Fred Benjamin, and of course then I did Dreamgirls, did the Wiz movie, with 399 other dancers and models.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I did that.
So you have been in this game for a long time.
Oh yeah, over 40 years. Over 40 years.
You don't look like you don't look like it.
Thank you.
You don't look like it.
Thank you.
But as my friend said, you've got the receipts.
Baby, I got the receipt, the T-shirt, the sweatpants, everything.
I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, from But Never Jam Today.
Yep, that was with Annette Carroll. Mm-hmm. It was a
Reggae.
show. Oh, yeah, that's where I first met Cheryl Lee Ralph, as a matter of fact, and Oba Babatunde. So I knew Cheryl Lee before Dreamgirls, yeah. So, yeah, and Oba.
And what's interesting about Dreamgirls, Brenda, is that you become kind of the keeper of the book, of the flame, because you've set that show a number of times, yeah?
Oh, yeah, I still have all the original choreography, blocking, everything. But it's so funny, now we get into it. No one has really asked me for any of the original stuff. I think I worked with Mark over at Paper Mill. We were trying to do, I think in 99, we were trying to bring Dreamgirls to London, and we have the original everything. And we lost our producers, and then that was it. And ever since then, I have never been asked for my book, for my input, my choreography, original choreography, or nothing. So that's quite interesting to me.
Why do you think that is?
It's a little bit of everything. Everyone wants to put their own new spin on a show, and unfortunately, our shows they kind of do that too a lot. They put their own spin on it, their own interpretation. So they don't usually go back to original Dreamgirls choreography or direction or staging or anything for some reason, and I'm not exactly sure what the other reason could be.
I don't understand it either, because if it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
Exactly. And it's so funny, to this day I've never seen the Dreamgirls movie because of some of the changes that I know they took license with. And I lived with this show. Geneva Burke and I lived with this show for so long. Being in rehearsals, being in auditions, being in, working right next to Michael Bennett, Michael Peters, and Bob Avion, and knowing the reason for a lot of the stuff that was done on stage. Not being handled in a way that it should be, as far as it being one of our, this is one of our legacies, Dreamgirls, you know what I mean?
It really is.
And so see how it's handled. And when I heard that they killed off Jimmy Early in the movie, that was it. I was like, nope, not going to see it. Not going to go see it.
Yep.
Because there was never anything in Dreamgirls that made you feel less than or embarrassed for, or that, oh my God, oh yes, another drug addict, there was none of that in the original
Wow.
Dreamgirls. We were so proud of it. So for them to have taken that turn, it really took away from what I thought was an amazing piece of theater. But it made money, and that's what it's about now. So there you have it.
Yeah.
I had hoped that they would do it the real way if and when it came back to Broadway, but I don't think that's going to happen either. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's a production that's running in London now.
Right, and I hear it's very good, and they want to bring it in, and I haven't seen it, but I just hope it pays homage to the original. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've been a part of so many historic shows. Let's talk quickly about your Tony-nominated turn as, I mean, come on, you talk about dancing, but you didn't just dance down in the show. You sang down in, listen, the character's called Brenda Braxton in Smokey Joe's Cafe. You did it and got a Tony nomination.
Yes, to play Brenda in Smokey Joe's.
Amazing.
It's amazing. We all of us never thought that show would be what it turned out to be. It was just, we made history. Again, we made history, And I have to thank Otis the lead and our first wave of director choreographer, because he was the one who actually hired me for the show. He had the vision of looking for actually a Brenda Braxton type. It's a funny story. That's literally what they were looking for, a Brenda Braxton type. And I was like, perhaps I should go in and audition for that and be seen for that. I got the gig. Yeah.
Now, Brenda, did you do it in Chicago as well?
I did. Yeah, we did it in Chicago. Yeah.
At the Royal George, right? Wasn't it at the Royal George or the?
Yep, it was the Royal George Theater.
Yes, I remember it.
But it was so much different than what we ended up with. So different.
Yes.
But that's what it takes sometimes. It takes working it and working it and working it to get it to be just right, Yeah.
So Smokey Joe's Cafe into Chicago.
Yes. And that was awesome too. That was awesome because it's so funny. I just decided I wanted to do Chicago. And I'll never forget, I was at Thanksgiving dinner at Julia Lima's house. I don't know if you know Julia.
Oh, that's my baby.
Of that. I always say, if you need a riffer, do not call me. Okay? But I can interpret a song, and I had to step in that. I had to step into knowing, this is what I do. If this is what you need someone to do, then I'm your girl. I'm the person to do it. If you need somebody to come in and interpret a song and be sexy and be sensuous and be that old-fashioned kind of soul, showgirl like a Lena Horne or something like that, here I am. I'm your girl. But if you need Jennifer Holliday or if you need one of those people, do not call me. Don't just
heard that.
do it. Yeah.
But you know who you are.
Exactly. And it took me a minute.
You know who you are.
Yeah, it took me a minute. And I will never, ever call myself a singer. I can sing, but there are people who that is their calling. And I would never insult them to say, oh, yeah, I'm a singer, too. No, boo. Yes, I can sing. Yes, I can do that. And I got a couple of good riffs that I can do, my standard riffs. They're the same. But I will never call myself a singer. Now, I'm a dancer. I can dance. And even at 60, I can still throw up a leg. And I can confidently say that. You know what I mean? But
hold on. Brenda, what did you just say, even at what?
At 60 or 61, I can still throw up a leg.
Stop the presses, because here's what the show is about.
Yes.
Here's what the show is about. We talked about your shows, but here's the thing that most excites me about you, Brenda.
Yes.
You are 61, and your career now, as one who watches it, seems as hot as it was when you were strutting in Smokey in Jelly's Last Jams and Smokies. Tell me about this. Well, tell us though, because you're in a new phase. I'm in my Act 2, as I call it, my Act 2 now. Come on, talk about it.
Yes, and that's what a lot of folks don't know. A lot of kids don't realize nowadays. Yeah, it's about getting that gig and everything, but it's also about longevity. And it takes a lot to have a 40-plus year career. Thank you, God, a career of making money and supporting yourself in this business. 40-plus years. So that's something that needs to be nurtured and cherished and learned and honed and all of that, because so many people are one-show wonders or two-show wonders or whatever. But it's about longevity. If you want to last, you've got to learn what to do and how to do it and who not to do it to and who to do it to in order to last in this business.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So tell us what this Act 2 looks like for you now. Tell us what this Act 2 is, because you're doing some incredible stuff.
Well, yeah, I just got off of Norwegian Cruise Lines. Norwegian did After Midnight about a year and a half ago, and Warren Carlyle and Jason Sparks came, and they did original choreography and everything, and we took it on Norwegian Cruise Lines, Norwegian Escape. And so I was their star singer for the inaugural sailing of that ship. So we did the sailing from Germany all the way across to Miami, and then started the cruises. And so when I got that job, I was so happy because I had a couple of really, really difficult years. I had B. Braxton's Exceptional Grooming for Exceptional Men. It was the barbershop, and it looked like it was going to be really good. And then I got divorced, and I lost my house, and it was just a whole big thing. So when Norwegian called me for that, I was so happy to be able to do not only After Midnight, but After Midnight that was on Broadway, and that After Midnight that Warren Carlyle came and put on my body as Brenda Braxton. You know what I mean? It wasn't somebody else just kind of sort of doing it. It was Warren Carlyle doing that for me. So I just finished doing that. I did, I think, 4 contracts there. Might be going back. We'll see. So that was something. But in the meantime, I turned 50. And the business is not necessarily kind to women who are over a certain age. And so I realized, oh boy, this is a whole big shift in my life, in my career. What am I going to do? But I realized that I was still performing, I was still dancing, I was still being called for certain things. But how many women are in the Act 2 of their lives and might have given up a dream or a goal or something they wanted really, really bad, to whether it was get married or start a family or whatever, but they still have that dream and that goal inside of them. So I launched Act 2 Now What? For women over 50. I'm starting to do seminars for women over 50 who are looking for that next thing in their lives, and to let them know that they can still be fierce, they can still go out there and strut their stuff. They don't have to worry about society even saying, oh, you're over a certain age. And I think society is getting more into how fierce women over 50 or over 40 still are. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm working on now. And I've written a book. Part of my Act 2, I wanted to pass down what I had learned in my 40-plus years, something that these kids coming up now are not learning in school. Yeah, they're learning how to sing, and they're learning how to do a scene and this and that, but they're not learning what happens once you get that job and what you are responsible for and what people are going to hold you to once you get that gig. So I wrote a book called The Little Black Book of Backstage Etiquette. And it's everything from how to share your dressing room, what to do, what not to do, how you're not supposed to warm up after half hour, things that have gone by the wayside a little bit. But that's common courtesy backstage. You know, don't touch your props if you're not using them. Don't take your props to your dressing room. Take care of your costume, things like that. Excuse me. That's not really taught in these schools, and kids are graduating and then just taking kind of some of their home training, or the lack thereof, into the theater situation and the backstage situation. So part of my Act Two Now What was I wanted to write a book, and I finished it. I published it myself. We won Best Book Cover in the New York book show that we're going to in October. So I'm trying to get the momentum of that going as well, and maybe partner with some of these schools so that this is one of the last things that the students get when they leave school. This is what you need to look into so that when you get that Broadway gig, you know what you're doing and you know how to deal with everything that's going on around you, from rehearsal to and I have quotes from Cheetah Rivera. You know, now that's the diva. Okay, I bow down to her. Cheetah Rivera is the one. Okay, so I have a quote from her. I've got a quote from some of the stage managers I've worked with throughout the years, some of the up-and-coming performers, some of the directors and choreographers have lent their little testimonials to the book, and I have a couple of stories in Dreamgirls and then all that throughout the book. So it's a fun book. It's on Amazon.com, a little plug there. But yeah, so that's part of the whole Act Two Now What synopsis. That was a lot. Wow. That was a lot. Do I still have you? Oh, are you there? Uh-oh, I've lost Demone. Should I do a song?
Demone,
wow.
So, Brenda.
Yes.
I'm not sure what just happened there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry. I have no idea what just happened.
That's okay. I almost broke out into a song.
Listen, you should have broken out into a song. Sorry for those technical difficulties.
Okay.
So let me catch up to where we were.
Mhm.
You were talking about your Act Two, and we were talking about the things that you've done in your Act Two and that you're doing in your Act Two. Can we pick up right there?
Absolutely. Now, I don't know how much your audience caught because I was rambling on.
Listen,
but I was just talking about my Act Two and what I have done as far as my book coming out and, trying to connect with women over 50 who are starting the Act Two of their lives, starting over again. So that's it.
So let's talk about that book. Let's talk about that book and the outreach to women, because you've had such an amazing effect on women who've come to your book signings and folk are following you regarding this Act Two.
Yes, and I actually went to South Africa and had an amazing Act Two Now What luncheon with some of the women of South Africa. These are upwardly mobile women. I have a video that'll be coming out with some of the stuff that we covered, and it was just an amazing experience. We always think of New York and all that kind of stuff, but there are some fierce women all over the world. And these women are over 40, over 50, over 60, some of them, and they were ready for the two of their lives. So that was something that I did that I would love to do. I would love to go to different cities and states and countries and just get these women going. You know what I mean? I've also written a TV show about it as well. About
really? Talk about that.
Yes, and again, it's called Act Two Now What. I'm trying to shop it around as we speak, so if there's anybody out there, hello.
Yes, they're all listening.
It's about women taking hold of their dreams again and taking hold. And so I work with about 20 women, and it's what I call the apprentice and Ayanla Van Zandt kind of fix my life for these women who have these dreams and goals. So I sit with my team and we give them different things that they have to do in order to get their goals started or get their dreams started. And if you do it, then you go on to the next, you go on to the next segment. If you don't, it's kind of like I hate to say it, you get fired, but you get asked to leave, because it's about going after your dream. There's no more time to say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. No, tomorrow is today, okay?
Yeah.
Tomorrow is today. Yeah. So I'm shopping that around, and I know I'm going to get that done. my mother always says, "Can I send it to Oprah?" And I'm like, "Mommy, no." My mother is 80 years old. She's like, "No, Oprah needs to know you. No, Oprah needs to see you." I'm like, "Mommy, no." You leave Oprah alone.
Wow. But this is so incredible because
it'll happen, and that's it, you know.
This is so incredible because one of the things that's so important to me with this show is that we get to know that we as artists are passionate about so many things beyond singing and dancing on the stage. That
absolutely, and you have to
impact. Yeah. We get to impact so many people's lives.
Yeah.
Through our gifts and through the things that we're passionate about. And so you're opening doors for women who maybe have felt like their time and thing was over.
They've been forgotten. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The women over 50 are called the forgotten women. And I'm here to say, oh, hell to the no. Can I say that on radio?
Yes, you can. Say it. Hell to the no.
Hell to the no. Hell to the no. I'm looking for my third husband. Okay?
Uh-oh. Brothers, you hear that? You hear that? Look, Brenda, tell us in these last few moments, how can we find you, follow you, and keep up with you in Act 2?
Okay. I am on Facebook, of course, as Brenda Braxton. I am on, Twitter and Instagram as B Braxton Act 2. I have a website, Brenda Braxton. If you want to go there, leave me a message, leave me a photo, leave me a, if you want to chat or whatever, because I am very serious about being accessible to people and to women and to, that's what it's really about. I've had a wonderful theatrical life, and it will continue. I plan on doing TV and more radio and all of that and more writing, but it's about the next act for me. It really is about the next act, and I want it to also be. I want to be kind of like a beacon for other performers, whether they're African American, Latino, or whoever, because we do have to have that next thing that we're going to go to. We have to.
Yes, we do.
Because every star that rises falls, and everything is in ebbs and flows, and everything comes full circle. You're going to have downtimes, and you come back up, no matter what, if you're in the business long enough.
That's so true. Brenda, tell us, I've asked all of our guests at the end of our show, if you had one last word for our audiences, one last word to encourage them, push them into their destiny, what would it be?
It would be, do what makes you happy, and everything else will come.
Wow. And that's a wonderful way. Do what
makes you happy. Yeah.
That's a wonderful way to end our show. Listen, we apologize for the technical mess up, but you can. Brenda kept talking, and so I know
did. I hope you got it.
Listen, I think we did. I know we'll be able to go back and pick it up. You can follow us on YouTube, where the show is available in demand. Brenda, thank you so much for being our guest today and for inspiring us. Absolutely. And I want to echo those last words to our audiences. Actually, I want you to echo those last words, Brenda, one more time. Tell them.
As long as you do what makes you happy, everything else will come. The money, the accolades, everything. Be pure and do what makes you happy, and have compassion for everything and everyone. And stay fierce, y'all. Okay?
Yes. What a wonderful way to end this edition of Broadway Offstage Right. Listen, be blessed, be a blessing, and we'll see you next time, Offstage Right. Good night.
Good night.
That's God above, God of righteousness, a God of peace. God of justice, everything you need. The seas, God of the rivers and the streets, the earth, the sky, moon and the stars. All things great are small. He's God, He's God. Nobody like Him. His name is God. He's the Alpha, Omega, the beginning and the end. Search the world over, you won't find one. Nobody like Him. His name is God. He is God. Nobody but God.
Tim Woodson for Tony Gill in 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, this is Tim Woodson, and you're listening to the award-winning Tony Gill radio show, playing the best in gospel music for over 15 years. Keep that dial locked.